Good morning everyone and welcome back to my channel English Literature. Today we are going to talk about Chinua Achebe, a genius in American literature. Chinua Achebe was an African, more particularly a Nigerian writer. He was an illustrious name in the history of African literature as well as world literature. Though he showed the same dexterity in writing short stories, poetry, novels, critical essays, his excellency crossed the limit of acclamation for his novels. So Chinua Achebe's novels have something special in it. He was a renowned Nigerian novelist, poet, essayist, professor who was born in Nigeria in 1930 and grew up in the Igbo village of Ogidi. He attended the University College of Ibadan, where he studied literature. In 1958, he published his first novel, Things Fall Apart, which is widely regarded as one of the most important works of African literature. This was followed by 4 more novels and 2 collections of short stories. In 1975, he became a professor at the University of Connecticut. He continued to write and lecture until he died in 2013. Throughout his life, Achebe wrote prolifically and was an outspoken advocate for African literature and culture. He won numerous awards including the Man Booker International Prize in 2007. He left behind an impressive body of work that will continue to inspire readers for generations to come. This is the life of Chinua Achebe in a short glimpse. Now we are going to explore his life and work from a broader perspective, that is through the timeline, chronological timeline. We are going to explore the life of Chinua Achebe. November 16, 1930. Chinua Achebe was born in Ogidi, Nigeria to Christian missionary parents. Father Isaiah Achebe was a catechist for the Church Missionary Society. Janet Achebe was his mother. Isaiah's ancestral village was Igbo. He, along with his wife Janet, traveled through northeastern Nigeria as an evangelist before they settled in Igbo, Odeji. Achebe grew up in Ogidi and came in contact with both Christian and Igbo religious beliefs. Because his father was a missionary and he was a member of that Igbo community. So for that reason, in Achebe's life, both these influence was simultaneous. He's being a Christian and he's at the same time being an Igbo. He was christened as Albert Chinulumugu Achebe by his parents. He was 8 years old when he began to learn English. His first lesson was in Igbo at the church school in Ogidi. 1944-1947. Achebe attended Government College, Umuahia, one of the top secondary schools in Nigeria at the age of 14. He was an avid reader and an excellent student. 1948, Achebe accepted a medical scholarship at University College in Ibadan. It was a highly prestigious scholarship. He intended to study medicine, but fortunately, or we are being lucky, after 1 year he switched to English literature. Yoruban playwright Uhol Soyinka joined him at University College. 1948-1953, Achebe studied English literature, history and theology at the University College of Ibadan, Nigeria. Achebe rejected the British name Albert and took his indigenous name Chinua. In 1948, he started writing stories, essays and sketches for the University Herald, which were later published in Girls at War and Other Stories. So in this magazine, he started his writing career with this magazine, and later all his stories, essays and sketches were published together at the name Girls at War and Other Stories. 1958, Achebe's first and most recognized novel, Things Fall Apart, was published. Yeah, this is the book. This novel tells the story of a traditional Igbo village in Nigeria and its encounter with colonialism. It became an instant classic and is now considered as one of the most important African novels ever written. It won Margaret Ruang Memorial Prize in 1959 for its contribution to African literature. The book was translated into 50 languages and sold more than 8 million copies. 1960, Nigeria gained independence from Britain and Achebe became an important voice in the country's cultural and political scene. He worked as a writer, editor, and lecturer. 1964, Achebe published his second novel, No Longer at Ease, which continues the story of the first novel, Things Fall Apart, and explores the conflict between tradition and modernity in Nigerian society. This book won Nigerian National Trophy. Now come to the personal life. Achebe married Christy Chinua Achebe. He has two sons, Ikechukwu and Chidi, and two daughters, Chinel and Nawanda. 1962, Achebe became the founding editor of Heineman's African Writers series. 1963, Achebe traveled to the United States, Brazil, and Britain on a UNESCO fellowship. 1964, Arrow of God was published. It received Jock Campbell Award. 1966, A Man of the People was published. Then Nigeria experienced a military coup that led to a series of political crises and eventually a civil war. Achebe became an outspoken critic of the government and the war. Achebe was forced to leave Lagos during the Nigerian Civil War. He served as a senior research fellow at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, which was later renamed as University of Biafra. 1971, Achebe published The Travel with Nigeria, a collection of essays that criticize the Nigerian government and society for their shortcomings. So, this is the collection of essays that criticizes the Nigerian government. He began editing Okike, a journal, in that same year. 1971, the same year, Achebe published Beware, Soul Brother, and Other Poems. It wins Commonwealth Poetry Prize in 1972. It was published in the United States as Christmas in Biafra and Other Poem. So these you have to remember and note down this point that they are same and actually the name is changed according to the publication in other state. 1972 to 1976, he taught at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst and the University of Connecticut. 1975, Achebe published Morning Yet on Creation Day, a collection of essays on African literature, culture, and history. After 1976, Achebe returned to teach at the University of Nigeria at Nsukka. 1979, he was elected as chairman of the Association of Nigerian Authors and received many awards. 1982, he along with Obera Udechukwu edited an anthology of Igbo. These names are quite tongue-twisting. 1987, Achebe published Anthills of the Savannah, a novel that critiques the corruption and tyranny of African post-colonial governments. He wrote this novel 20 years earlier. 1988, published his collection of essays, Hopes and Impediments. 1990, Achebe was involved in a serious car accident on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. There was a long gap before he got medical care. This left him paralyzed from the waist down. He became confined to a wheelchair. 1992, being threatened with imprisonment, Chinua Achebe fled to Europe. Later, he returned and served as the president of the Ogidi Town Union. So, this car accident was a pathetic incident in his life, but this accident cannot stop him, cannot stop his life. Achebe declined the Nigerian government's offer of national honor in protest of the government's human rights record. 2000, his semi-autobiographical work Home and Exile was published. Here he evaluated the bygone years of African literature and his lifetime works. 2003, Kenyan Catholics tried to ban a man of the people from their school curriculum. 2004, Achebe rejected an award from the Nigerian government to protest its tyrannical rule. 2007, Achebe received Man Booker International Prize for Fiction. Ellen Walter, an American feminist and literary critic as well as writer, was in the judging panel. 2005 to 8, he was working on a short novel on ancient myth to be part of the Canongate myth series. You have to remember these names from the description. The Canongate of myth series. So, a short novel dealing with the ancient myths by Chinua Achebe, the Canongate myth series. There will be four options and you have to choose one from them. 2000, actually there is so many names and so many publications, so many collection. So from them you have to remember these things. 2008, this year marked the 50th anniversary of the publication of The Things Fall Apart. 2010, Achebe was rewarded the Dorothy and Lillian Gish Prize, one of the richest prizes in the American arts. 2012, Achebe published There Was a Country, a Personal History of Biafra. March 21, 2013, Chinua Achebe passed away at the age of 82 in Boston, Massachusetts, USA. Chinua Achebe's work continued to be widely read and studied around the world, and he remains a towering figure in African literature and culture. Now, we'll have a look at the bibliography by the author. We have already talked about this book, and now this is the chronological order. Long fiction, Things Fall Apart, No Longer It Is, Arrow of God, A Man of People, and Hills of Savannah. Now short fiction, Dead Man's Path, the Sacrificial Egg and Other Stories, Girls at War and Other Stories. Now poetry collection, Beware, Soul Brother and Other Poems. The same is published in US at the name Christmas in Biafra and Other Poems. These same are, you can given that another name of for the collection, Beware, Soul Brothers and Other Poems. Then there will be 4 options and you have to choose Christmas in Biafra. Non-fiction, Morning Yet on Crescent Day. So in this way you can have a look at his works, children's literature and miscellaneous. Okay, so with this today we cut off our connection with Chinua Achebe. But you must read Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, and I have made a video on Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart in detailed discussion and summary and character in 2 parts. Okay, thank you.